Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss about environmental microbiology. In the lower classes, you have studied about what is environmental biology, ecology, and you also studied about parasites and bacteria, viruses, and fungi, etc., etc. These all of these include what the microbes, and the study of the microbes is known as what microbiology. In this class, you have to study the microbiology with reference to environmental biology. Okay, the microbes, these are the small organisms. They have small genome, and they don't do a lot, but whatever they do well. And but we have to study these organisms with reference to how they can cope with the high temperature or the extremities of the temperature, and acidity and alkalinity and salinity. And this is the reason that these organisms which can cope with a severe condition or extreme condition of the temperature, acidity, alkalinity, and salinity. These are known as what extremophiles. The microbes. First of all, we are going to study about the bacteria, and the bacteria, they are classified into two major categories. And those are what the eubacteria and the archaebacteria. Next, the these microbes, they have the relations among themselves, and those relations are known as what symbiotic relationships. These symbiotic relationships are classified as a parasitic relationship and mutualistic relationship and commensalism. Okay, when these are parasitizing the other organisms, this relationship is known as what parasitic relationship or parasitism. And when both the symbiotic partners, they get the benefit, this is known as what mutualistic relationship. And if one partner is benefiting and other is neither harmed nor gets the benefit, then it is known as what leguminous plant, pea plant. And here are the roots, and these are what the nodules. Okay, these nodules, they harbor, they host the bacteria, and these bacteria, they help maintain the the fertility of the soil, and the fixation of the nitrates, which are beneficial for the growth of these plants, leguminous plants. Next, you have studied what the biogeochemical cycle in the lower classes. This is how you can say the law of conservation of mass. The matter can neither be created nor destroyed, and a constant amount of matter in the environment must be recycled. How it is recycled? The microbes, they convert the nutrients into organic and usable form, or usable matter, and that is used by the plant. You can summarize here the biogeochemical cycle in the diagram. The producers, they use their own food, I mean by the photosynthetic process, and obviously the sunlight is used for that process, and the producer, after the production of the organic matter, that is used by the consumers. These are, the animals. The energy is transferred to the decomposers after the death of the producers as well as the consumers. And from the decomposers, what happens? The decomposed matter, that may either be lost to the rocks, or that may be recycled into the environment, either in the water or in the atmosphere. The one example of the biogeochemical cycle, the microbes, particularly the algae and bacteria. They include what the phototrophs and chemotrophs. I mean, there are certain bacteria which carry out the photosynthetic process. The others are there which carry out the chemosynthetic process, and both convert the inorganic form of the carbon into the organic form using the external source of energy. Next, the chemotrophs release the inorganic form of carbon dioxide to complete the cycle, and the non-living sinks include calcium carbonate and fossil fuel. Here is how you can study it, or you can inculcate this whole cycle. So, for example, these are the plants, and here is what the one representative of the animals. It is consuming the organic matter, and the plants and the animals after the death, their dead organic matter and is is either sunk into the rocks, and that is fossilized, or that is that is used by what the microbes in the water, and then it reaches to the atmosphere in the form of the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is used by what the plants and algae and cyanobacteria, and that is fixed, the fixation. The carbon dioxide is used in the photosynthetic process and glucose is formed. This is what the fixation. Here is an amount of carbon dioxide that is dissolved in the water, any of the water body, that can either be sea or lakes or even any standing body, water body. Okay. From the water, the bacteria they they process this carbon dioxide, and that is converted into what methane and carbon dioxide again, and this is also lost to the dead organisms in the form of dead organisms into what the rocks. That is again what the fossilized, and the fossils may be used for what the burning and production of energy. This is how the cycle is included regarding the carbon compounds. Here is another cycle among the biogeochemical cycle. In the last biogeochemical examples, we have stated about what the carbon cycle. Here is what the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen, the local shortage occurs because of the nitrogen stuff. I would like to mention here how the microbes they decompose the proteins uh, from the dead cells and release the amino acids, and ammonia is liberated by the microbes by ammonification of the amino acids. Ammonia is oxidized to produce nitrates for the energy by nitrifying bacteria. The denitrifying bacteria reduce nitrogen in nitrates to the molecular nitrogen. The molecular nitrogen is converted into ammonia by nitrogen fixation bacteria, or nitrogen fixing bacteria. The ammonium and nitrates are used by bacteria and plants to synthesize amino acids. In the last lecture, you have stated what the biogeochemical cycle. One example was what the carbon cycle. Here is what the nitrogen cycle. You see what the plants they utilize the nitrogen in the form of nitrates, and they produce the organic matter that is taken up by the animals, and that is what decomposed. I mean, these plants, these are decomposed by what the fungi, are either they are used by the animals. This this dead organic matter that is converted into what the ammonia. Okay, and from the leguminous plants also, what happens? The leguminous plants they utilize what's the nitrogen, and if they die, what will happen? Their compounds also are converted into what the ammonia. Ammonia is converted into what by nitrification. The bacteria include what the nitrosomonas. The ammonia is converted into nitrites. The nitrites are converted into what nitrates by nitrobacter, and then these nitrates are used by the plants. These nitrates they may either be converted into free nitrogen by denitrification. I may mention here that carbon dioxide is used by the plants that can be taken out by the plants from stomata. But the plants they cannot use free nitrogen from their stomata. Now they can use only in the form of what ammonia or what nitrates. So nitrates which are lost in the form of nitrogen, that is actually the loss to the fertility of the soil. Okay, and the free nitrogen is actually the gaseous nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere that may either be used also in the industries, and if the denitrification occurs. On the other hand, you can see what the nitrification also occurs by the bacteria. They include what azobacters and what cyanobacteria and Clostridium, etc., etc. They carry out what the nitrification. I mean, they convert the free nitrogen into ammonia compound, and those ammonia compound they they are they are processed by nitrosomonas to form what the nitrites, and nitrobacter to form what the nitrates. So in this way, what the microbes they are playing a vital role in the production of the plants organic matter, and subsequently the animal organic matter. I usually say that all flesh is nothing but the air, that is air that comes from the nitrogen by processing, and that processing is done by the microbes.